Hey, Alyssa. Alyssa.
Yes. I hear you now. Can you hear me? Yes. Yes. Hello? I hear you now. Can you hear me? Oh,
I
oh
can
my
hear
gosh,
you.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, at least you and I are
Okay.
talking.
Thank God. Yes. That took so long.
Okay, hold on. Okay, what's happening is, let me put my headphones on because, see, hold on. What we have is, we got feedback. Okay, what's happening is, let me put my headphones on because, see, hold on.
Yeah, I hear it.
We got feedback. BB, thank you for your help. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can
All
you still
better.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, before I keep talking, a lot of people I saw in
And
chat
can
was
they
saying
hear
I'm a
them?
minor. Oh, can people hear me? Need to make sure they can hear me.
I just want to make sure. They say, yay, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, so now,
Okay, good.
just realize that there's a delay, okay? So it's like, see how we're kind of like overlapping? So give it, when you're done talking, I'm going to stop talking for like 5 seconds so I know you're done.
Okay, understood. All right, well, the first thing I'll say is that a lot of people earlier were saying I'm a minor, I'm 15. I'm not 15, 20 years old. So let's get that out of the way. Not a minor. Just need to make that clear.
Okay, and they're just trying, you see, they're just haters trying to get me, they're trying to get me in trouble.
Oh, well, here I am saying I'm not 15. I showed my ID earlier. I blurred out the stuff that is private, but I showed my birthday, so they should know I'm 20.
Okay, you didn't dox yourself or anything?
No, did not do that.
Okay, thank you for doing that. You didn't have to do that. Because you know what?
It was for that. What?
Yeah. It's like, whatever. Okay, thanks for doing that. Oh, showing your ID, it just sounded like a big hassle.
Oh, no, I put a piece of paper over the other stuff. I only showed the birthday. Okay, so I guess we'll do the interview.
Okay.
Let me say, I've been watching for a long time now.
Well, hi,
for like,
hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you as well. Yeah, I've been watching for like, I think like 5 months or something like that. But before I started watching, I actually found out about you guys because of another YouTube channel, a video about you. Yeah, a long time ago, way before the live streams and everything. Their YouTube channel was,
yeah,
I think it's called 50 Shades of Chest Pains. Yeah, but the video about you, now it's deleted now because they got like the channel stripped down or everything. But I made a video about you and Joy because they make videos about eating disorders.
I don't think I had anything to do with that one.
No, it was just a commentary video. But yeah, they made a bunch of videos about people with eating disorders, and they made one about you guys. So the way I was introduced was they showed a lot of videos that you guys uploaded way back in the day with like the bulimia, and that really took my interest because you don't see very much of bulimia on YouTube. And it was very interesting the way they portrayed it. Now, I don't know if they even really knew, but the way they portrayed it, they would say that it was you and Joy being bulimic together and like promoting it by making videos of it. Yeah. I disagree with that. I don't think that's the case. But
so you found us, okay? Let me, because like people, you were one of our original people that found us through the eating disorder part of our thing, and then we started doing. And I know there was a lot of you because that's what we did for a year and a half, and we started getting some traction. I remember we were on Twitter, and people found us on Twitter. They're like, "Oh my God, I found you on YouTube!" And like, we were a small community of us. It was a very tight, small community.
Yeah.
So I remember,
that is true.
I remember.
Yes. Sorry, I'm looking at some little notes I tried to make to ask you something.
It's all good. Look, it took forever to get this stream started. Another 30 seconds to make sure.
Okay, well, a question I have about that situation. Um, I think from what I've heard you say before, I'm pretty sure that Joy was bulimic before she met you. I'm pretty sure. Is that
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then it ended up with you also being bulimic for a bit, right?
Yeah, yes, we were both bulimic together. I
Yeah.
think that was actually,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably one of the things where she felt for the first time she could be with someone that didn't judge her.
Yeah, I can understand that. Like, back when I was younger, it's such a huge thing to connect with someone with like the more like taboo a disorder or anything is, the stronger the connection with another person who has it.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
So
so you've had some experience with that. Is that why you found us from the other channel?
I never had bulimia. I have just some issues, just some food issues.
You don't have to go into it. I just was just curious.
No bulimia.
Yeah.
Actually, I tried. I was really trying. That's kind of how
It's hard, right? It's not easy.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's not
tried.
easy.
Never got it to work.
Did you
So
ever see Joy's videos where she does it like hands free?
yes, I've heard that's a thing that's pretty common with
Is it
people who are doing
common?
that for
I
years.
don't know how they
People
do
who,
that.
yeah, people who do that for years, they learn to just do it all internally, and that they don't even have to do anything.
I think once you get to that level, I mean, well, from my experience with Joy, she says it's really dangerous.
Yes, extremely.
It's like deadly dangerous.
Oh yeah,
Because
and
it's
I'm
so
so
easy.
happy. It's really such a huge struggle to overcome. Like, that's not something you can let go for. It kind of stays with you forever, to be honest. So
Yeah,
huge ups to you both.
thank you so much. It's the total addiction, as you know.
Definitely.
And it sounds like and I'm glad that you found some value in that, because that's really what the basis of the channel was. Joy wanted to talk about things that people didn't want to talk about. And a big thing that people never talk about is our eating disorders. And now we really can't talk about too much other than like basically how we're talking about, with just like more commentary. But if we were talking about like our own personal experiences, they don't allow that anymore on YouTube. It's because of Eugenia Clooney really made a big deal. I guess we had no idea who she was. You guys told us. When we
Eugenia
came on.
Cooney.
Yeah, you guys told us who she was. So and what happened is that, see, we were doing this since 2022, but Eugenia Clooney was before us, and they've been trying to get her demonetized off YouTube, for a long time. So they had to change a lot of their policies. And so as they changed their policies, by 2023, they instituted all these policies where we were fine before, but now we can't even talk about eating disorders. It went way extreme, but they had to do that in order to I guess, to demonetize. I don't know. They were trying to demonetize. Yeah.
That's what happened with the person who made the video about you. They made a lot of videos about eating disorders, and like their whole channel got taken down because that's like all. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I mean, what's happening to us, because I think we were kind of grandfathered, and then what happened is that they started, like, these new rules came up, so they remove our things and they say, oh, hey, we probably didn't know this was a violation, so it's not a strike, but we're removing it as if it is a strike. You know what I mean? They remove it. They don't punish me or anything. They just remove the video, like videos that we've had up for like a couple years, just going down now. And so it's like, okay. And obviously we're not posting any new stuff about that. That's why we don't talk too much about it, except at a very high level, because YouTube really does not want to go down that road anymore.
Mm-hmm. That could be YouTube deleting the videos, or it could be people going back and reporting the videos, because I'm not gonna pretend I've never looked at the Reddit page. I've looked at it. A lot of people on there they tell everyone to go report the videos. I don't know how many people actually do, because there's not that many people on the Reddit, but
there's not. It's a small channel, but yeah, no, our stuff has been. See, what happens is, if you cry wolf enough times, that pretty soon it's like it helped to blow up our channel, because they kept getting people to investigate our stuff, and we got taken down one time. Now our bulimia videos, yeah, those probably are getting flagged by the people, but they are as they change their rules about everything, we don't really care because we're not really even talking about that anymore because we've kind of overcome it, except for like maybe like a small segment. So it's a less of a focus of like when bulimia, when we were active in our addiction, it consumed us all day long, and it consumed joy. So that's why we documented a lot of that. But today we're not active in our addiction, so it doesn't consume us.
Yeah, another thing about that, like I know you say that the reason you're able to, I don't know about you, but definitely Joy, when she got over the bulimia, it's because of the keto diet.
Yes.
Well, how did you get over it though? Because I think you got over it before you started going keto. Am I right?
What I did was, well, first of all, I was not nearly as bulimic as Joy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't. I was not as good as her.
As good as her.
She's diligent. You see how she's so meticulous on everything, like the bunny and everything. Mm-hmm. So bulimia, she was just like bah, 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 bah. I mean, she was like she could starve herself to death. Okay, whereas I was just like, oh man, half the time I didn't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
So I would end up digesting a lot. So you're asking me the question. The reason why I mentioned that is because what's happening was that I was getting very obese as I was bulimic. So even though I should be getting thinner, I was putting on weight.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing with people actually. Because when you throw up, you're not throwing up like every single thing, and plus you don't throw up every meal. So like a lot of people with bulimia actually are overweight because of it.
Yeah, it's like a trick. It's because also you're super hungry. As soon as you vomit your meal, then you're super hungry. And what I would do is I would eat my meals, and then I would eat something very sugary and go to sleep. So my diet was way out of whack. And the way I used to stay thin was I would go to the gym and work out. I did triathlons. That's how because I'd eat all this sugar, and that's how I burned it off. But that's not realistic. Triathlons are not a realistic way to stay in shape.
No.
I mean, in fact, it's another form of an eating disorder.
True. I've seen that a lot more these days.
Well, actually, they did a study. They found, and I'm glad you're on the call, because they literally did a study after COVID, 2023, and this is probably why YouTube is freaking out. 2023, 70% of high schoolers have a form of an eating disorder. That's a lot.
Really?
70%. That's not from me. That's from the NIH.
Oh.
Yeah, you could look up the recent statistics on it, and that's way up because I've always been researching that, and that's a big jump. And they said that during COVID, eating disorder emergency room visits tripled or quadrupled during COVID.
I'm not surprised at all about that, honestly.
Why is that? Why do you think that?
Well, I think it's mostly with younger people especially during COVID, when everyone's like on their phone all the time. There's so much that is promoting eating disorder, even if it's not directly. Like, I remember, like, for me, I started out having eating problems when I was like 13 or something because of Instagram. With like, they'll show you, if you spend a lot of time looking at something on Instagram, it'll become your entire feed. Yeah. So if you like looking at skinny people on Instagram, just give it a day, and then everything you'll see on Instagram is just like the skinniest people. Oh, God. And it's terrible. Yeah. And for young people, especially girls, it's so easy to just look up like, oh, how to lose weight, how to be skinny. And then you see all these forums. I found a bunch of forums about like eating disorders. It was called My Pro Anna. Okay, listen, I got to get Joy. You want to talk to Joy? Okay, yeah, let's get Joy.
Because you're dipping into the area that she knows about. You asked me a question, I'll answer it real quick. How did I get over it?
Yes, please.
What I did was, first of all, I acknowledged that it's an addiction to sugar. Okay, I was just craving sugar. That's for me. I don't know about everybody else, but for me, I wanted sugar, I wanted sweet treats, I wanted that. That's what I went crazy for. So what I did was I ate keto bars. They're like $5 a piece. But I ate those at night, and I kept them by my bed because I was still addicted to sugar. And so I'd wake up with like these sugar sweats. And normally I'd go grab a Snickers, right, or some sort of sugar. I grab a keto bar, it has 0 sugar, but your brain thinks it's sugar. So I could satisfy myself, but then I was slowly weaning myself off sugar. And pretty soon I didn't need the keto bars no more. And that took about a week, and they're expensive, an expensive way to go, but it worked for me. So that's how I got off of it. So literally, I just had to stop doing it though. I just had to.
Yeah.
You just have to stop. You have to stop. But you know what helps is that there's a solution, and that's what I'm saying is that if you get to where you're eating just this right here, you can eat as much of this as you want. I know it's boring, but you don't really. But food isn't supposed to be entertaining.
I agree.
It's supposed to be I mean, it can be, but we've really turned it into more of a festivity that it needs to be, and that's why it's like But this is like burgers. Tell you what, when you haven't had a burger all day and you're on this diet, this is like gold. I mean, you're like, yes, protein. You get in a different mindset. So I think the best thing I can do is tell you that there's hope. That if you stop and you just start eating protein, up your protein. You're not gonna look. Joy didn't stop day one, neither did I. It took us 6 months, maybe Joy even longer. Like I'm just like trying it out, and we knew what to do. So the point is don't give up. Just keep working towards it. Okay.
True. I also know that Joy I think she was vegan and vegetarian.
Yes.
And now she does all beef. I've been vegetarian for a long time. I don't know if she's available, but I wonder how she switched, how she transitioned like that. If it was
Absolutely. I'll go grab her right now. Hold on.
Okay, I'm gonna look for something. I'll be back.
Children growing, women producing, men go working, some do stealing. Everyone's got to make a living.
Goes against my morals to spit.
No prejudice. I'm a feminist. Do your thing, babe. Friends with benefits. Both toxic, both treacherous. I might American Psycho, my receptionist. Let's go somewhere and disappear. Your boyfriend's gone, so that means we in the clear. Right hand on her neck, while my left hand steer. Deep throat, her eyes water. She pulled down my denim tears. Hit it one time, hit it 2 times. You know what happens by the third, hit a few times. No judgment, cause everybody has to make a living. Do a little, show a little, tease a little, then take it off. Cause if you do a little, yeah, show a little, then tease a little, I might risk it all. Do a little, show a little, tease a little, then take it off. Cause if you do a little, yeah, show a little, then tease a little, I might risk.
You can just put the headphones on so you can hear her. These headphones so you can hear her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, otherwise you get feedback in here. And here's your microphone.
So what's going on?
Hello. Oh, hey. Joy. Oh my gosh.
How are you?
OMG. I'm good.
What's
I'm
your
Alyssa.
name? Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
You too. I didn't know it'd bring you on, but hello.
Hello.
I guess I have a question. I'm vegetarian. I've been vegetarian for a long time. I know you used to be vegan and vegetarian. Yeah. So, what was it like going from vegan to all beef? Like, tell me how that felt.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it was really hard because it wasn't just that I was vegan and vegetarian. It was like my entire life. My mom had really like preached on like eating fruits and veggies and salads. Like as a girl, like that's what you eat. And like she always kind of like made me feel like meat was bad for you, you know? And yeah, and so like I honestly was one of those people that thought like red meat is bad, like for your heart and all this stuff. And what kind of weirdly transitioned me was when my mom died, I kind of got deep into my bulimia, so I kind of was like, does it matter at this point? You know, like that's kind of what happened is I was like, well, I that's when I kind of stopped being a vegan. So that's why it was a little bit easier to transition when I did go into the full beef because I had already kind of stopped being a vegan before that time. But it was weird because I do love animals, and I do know that we have limited resources of animals. So honestly, as much as like I want people to do the diet, I know that like ideally that would not be good for the world. So it's like, so it's like, it's this weird thing of like, I'm like, I know it's good for me, and I feel that it could be good for others, but in reality, I don't want everyone to be on the diet because it wouldn't be good for all the animals. So I do feel, I do like that people are vegans and vegetarians for that reason, for the fact that like, you know, you eat less animals, you know, like, so if everybody was eating all the animals, it would be even worse, you know? So I do feel bad that I now am one of those consumers of animals, for sure.
Well, you know, you shouldn't feel bad because it's an extreme circumstance to deal with an extreme case, you know, like, if that's the only thing that's going to work, then what are you going to do?
Right, well, the issue is the sugar. So any vegan or vegetarian option, even with the protein, still has quite a good amount of sugar in it. For like, because I used to do like veggie burgers, but they're made out of vegetables, and vegetables do have sugar. They have carbs, you know. And so that's the frustrating thing, is because there's still this part of me that like would love to just like be able to eat just like salad or something, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like lighter and feels like it's healthier, but for some reason for me it's not. Like, other people it might be. I mean, I might just be like, as a really mess up my digestive system, so it's really extreme.
Does this lettuce have sugar? Just like straight lettuce?
You know, very small amounts. Yeah, that's what, like, the animals that Richard's always talking about, like the bunnies and stuff, they're pretty much, they're vegan and vegetarian on, like, just, like, things like the greens. You have very small amounts if you just stuck with, like, we did for a little bit, we ate, like, collard greens and kale with our diet. That worked out pretty well for me, but I did find I bloated a bit, because something about especially the kale, I think, when also, like, you gotta watch, like, at first, for a second, I tried, like, broccoli. That actually bloats you. So if you're not near broccoli, it is a thing that actually people are like, watch broccoli for bloating. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize, and cauliflower. Oh. So some of the veggies actually, like, even like with Casper, my bunny, I gave him cabbage, and he started getting really gassy.
Oh my God.
Some of the veggies can cause bloating for, it might not even be just the sugar, just something about the fiber or something in it. Because, you know, veggies often get you going to the bathroom, but sometimes before you go to the bathroom, you're going to bloat really bad. So, you know, TMI, but yeah, I'm glad you're here for the eating disorder, because I would love to talk about it more, but ever since, you know, you do know about Eugenia Cooney, because ever since her, I guess YouTube has made very strong policies against.
Yeah, it's because a lot of people, like, have been telling YouTube that she shouldn't be platformed, and everyone's like screaming, take away her platform. But then you have a whole bunch of other people saying, just because she's sick doesn't mean she should be deplatformed. So
well, it's a hard thing, because I did see with her, like, it is hard because it's like, in a way, her sickness is what's giving her views. So that is really difficult, because I could see why people were frustrated. But then, like you said, it's hard because it's like, well, do you just shut it down and then she's just going to be sick on her own, you know?
Yeah.
Or now she's on different platforms even, I heard. But it is hard when you're realizing that, like, she's being, like, the money incentive is incentivizing her to stay sick, and that's not
definitely cool. Yeah.
So that's why I think YouTube wanted to shut that down, because you don't want to be like encouraging. I don't know how she's alive, to be honest.
I know, because she's been very sick for a long time. Like, I remember I was little, I was very young, and I saw her so skinny. Like, I don't know how she's still doing it.
Well, and what's crazy is I didn't know about her until like just recently, but like Richard showed me her one time, and I thought he was showing me like some edited thing, like some fake thing. I was like, oh, that's not real. Like, I was like, Richard, that's not a real person. What is that? Some, you know, they obviously, you know, digitized themselves somehow or something. And so I didn't even think anything of it. And then later on, I think it was Amanda that first showed me her, and then I was like, oh dear, she's like a living person. Like, she moves, and this is not, it's not fake. Like, That, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, it is bizarre.
I don't know.
I remember, I think it was like around COVID. Do you know who Shane Dawson is?
No.
He's another big YouTuber from like, I don't know, like 10 years ago. He was really big. But he started doing these like documentaries, and he had one with Eugenia, and she kind of like it looked like she got better for a while. Like she looked so much better and much healthier. But then just a bit after that, she went right back. So I don't know.
I don't know why. I mean, I understand eating disorders. I get. See, mine came out of wanting to be thin, but then not knowing what to eat. To be honest, like, so kind of being frustrated, like, and I honestly was choosing the wrong items. Now that I realize as I get older, you know, I was going for often like beverages, beverages are the worst thing. I don't know, you know, like,
True.
People want to go for beverages because for some reason in our mind we think a beverage is not food, but the problem with a beverage is you don't digest it anyway, so it's just like instant, all the calories, all the sugar right into your bloodstream. So it's like actually the worst thing. Like, beverages are where people get most of their weight is coming through. So I had this thing of only doing beverages, like, for most of my life. Like, I thought, oh, it was weird. Like, I, in my mind, thought, oh, I drank something, so that doesn't count as calories. You know what I mean? So I was so frustrated, never understanding why I was gaining weight when I was doing the worst things, you know? And so I understand wanting to be thin, but I never wanted to be super thin. That just came out of not knowing how to stop. Does that make sense? Like where it gets too bad and then you don't know how to stop. Yeah. And so that's when I got really, really thin. Was I knew I was too thin, but I didn't know how to stop it. So that's why people were, or that's early on with this channel, they kept shutting me down because they thought I was glamorizing my low weight.
Yeah, and that's what they say about Eugenia too. And I've seen some clips of her where it kind of does seem like she is doing that, but I don't think you ever did that. I've been watching you never did anything like that.
When early on I was like 96 pounds, we were trying to show that I was trying to gain weight, and people go, oh, well, it's easy to gain weight, but you're like, not if you're trying to stop an addiction, you know what I mean? Like, that was my issue, was I was trying to get off of the bulimia. I couldn't put on the weight until I stopped the bulimia, because that's what happened. I kept, because like,
people they have this perception of eating disorders as like such a vanity thing, like, oh, you just want to be perfect, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah, they're always, well, for one thing, it's always a deeper emotional thing. I mean, my mom always said they usually roots from, like, with me, like when my dad left when I was a little girl, you know, it starts then, like, because I started when I was pretty young, being like weight conscious, you know, like, girls, if you might not be your dad leaving, but in something where you feel a need to make sure you look good, you know, whatever. But yeah, I remember thinking I was the only one that had an eating disorder, though. And that's why I wanted to do this YouTube thing, was to let people know they weren't alone. But then I think they thought I was trying to be like one of the pro-Anna things or pro-me or whatever those things are, you know, that they will. Yeah,
I think it's just because I remember, actually, I don't know if you were hearing when it was Rich earlier, me talking to him, but the way I found out about your channel was another YouTuber who did a lot of videos about eating disorder content, and they did a video about you guys, and they were saying, they were called 50 Shades of Chest Pains is their YouTube channel.
Oh, check it out.
Well, all their videos kind of got deleted because YouTube didn't want to support it. I don't know. So they're not, the video's gone now, but what they say, they were showing videos of you and Rich throwing up in the hotels or wherever, and they were saying you're promoting it, and I ended up checking out the channel, and it was all about you trying to recover from it. So you got to do your own research.
This is crazy. I hated him filming me doing that. Like, I don't know if people like,
really?
Oh god, it was the worst thing ever. Like, for one thing, I found that to be the most disgusting thing. I couldn't believe people wanted to watch it. But it really helped me because every time I wanted to binge, he's like, all right, I'm getting the camera out. And I'm like, oh no.
My gosh, really?
Yeah, and it really helped me like over it, because you're like, it's really embarrassing because it's a very secretive thing, you know, like, and it's
when I first saw it, I would never have thought that you didn't want it, because I would think if you didn't, yeah, I would think he wouldn't do it. If you
No,
said
I mean,
no.
I wanted to help others, so I was thinking it could help. But no, I mean, it was embarrassing. Oh,
Yeah.
dear. I mean, you don't want to, like, vomit in front of people and show how much you're eating. It's
No.
an embarrassing thing. But I knew I was going to get better because I had been better before. If I hadn't been better before, I don't know if I would have done it. Like, because then I would have just been, like, just showing myself being sick. That would have been weird, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I knew I could get better. But it was hard the second time because we lived here. And the first time
yeah.
around, we just didn't buy the food. We didn't have it available. And we wouldn't just go get it. It'd be like, what's your home? I'm not going to, I'd be like, no, I'm not going to go get it. But here, when it was literally Gloria would knock on my door with pancakes and stuff, I was like, oh, man. And I loved pancakes. That's why it's funny the whole pancake thing later became a thing, because those were my weakness with Gloria's pancakes early on. Like, I would make it sometimes halfway through the day, and then Gloria would decide to make pancakes in the middle of the day, and I'd be like, oh, no, because they smell good and everything with the bacon.
Yeah.
Like, oh, no.
Maybe you could answer the question, because she asked me the question, like, how did I stop doing it as well? Like, how did I
Oh, well,
quit?
Richard literally almost dies every time, like really bad. There's something that happens where he can't breathe. I don't know what happens. Well, the fun thing, he eats like 9 million donuts and bagels. So he can't breathe. He goes nuts with bagels and donuts. I don't like bagels and donuts very much. But well, for one thing, you can't vomit them very easily, so I don't know what he's thinking eating those things. Anyways, they're terrible. So it gets stuck in his throat, and then he just almost dies. It's awful. It's awful. So he makes me stop sooner because he goes faster than me in a sense. Like, I'm always like, man, you gotta ruin it so fast for us. Like every time we've gone, which is good. But at the time, I'll be like frustrated with him because I'll be like, man, I thought we could go do this a little longer, because we always, like, that when we went back, we knew it was bad. And so we knew it was going to be short term. Because for one thing, we kind of were very happy with our bodies, and we were watching them deteriorate as we were doing an eating disorder. Like, that's the thing, you don't have a good body when you have an eating disorder. That's what's frustrating, is you want to have a good body, but you don't. You never do. Maybe early on for a second. You might be like, oh, this works for a second, but then it stops working because it's unhealthy. So when you're unhealthy, your body will start to not look good. It's like
not even just the look. You can, like, feel it inside. It's like, you just,
Or even, like, the people with Ozempic, I don't know what's good. Like, you can just tell that they're not healthy. I don't know what that drug does, but they don't look healthy to me.
Oh, yeah, they call it Ozempic face.
Yeah, I was
There's,
looking
like,
at that
special
today.
face.
Like Jessica Simpson. Oh, I feel so bad. I was like, oh, man. And I can see where at first you might be liking that you got thinner in the face, but then it goes too far, And that's what happens with me. Like, I know that happened with me when I had my eating disorder. I remember if there was a second that you're like, oh, you look okay. And then you start to look really old. It ages you, and you look really like the Ozempic face. Because that's the thing, is there's no, we like to say, there's really no shortcuts to health. Like, people always want to, think that there is, but there isn't.
And it's never worth it. It's like, it always ends up in disaster.
Yeah. And the only way you look good is if you're healthy. That's actually
true.
The key.
That's very true.
Because there's been so many times, like for me, I wanted to drink alcohol. That was my, like, kind of, like, drug of choice in a way. And I loved alcohol, and it always made me crazy. But the final thing that really did me in with alcohol is it makes me look awful. And it's finally funny that it's a vanity thing that finally is, like, the thing where I wouldn't even consider taking a sip of alcohol because I'm like, you know what, I look terrible when I drink alcohol because it literally is poison. No, it doesn't. Me and Richard noticed because we hadn't drank in years and years and years, and then we drank for just a short time, like a couple months, and within those couple months, it deteriorated our looks so fast. It was like, wow, alcohol really doesn't make you look good, And so things like that, we just realized, like, we smoke weed. We didn't for a while when we didn't have money, but now we're getting some money. So weed, we don't think makes us look bad in any way. But other things, like, have, you know what I mean? So we found weed and the diet we do, we feel healthy. But everyone judges us and says we're on all these other drugs. I'm like, if we were, you would be able to tell. Because we've been on other drugs and we look like crap.
Yeah, I don't believe you guys are on drugs. I see a lot of people accusing a lot. It's crazy, actually. I don't know. I think it's just because I don't know, maybe it's just the unconventional lifestyle, I guess. Maybe that's why.
I think they would do drugs if they lived our life, is why they think that. And we have done
Yeah,
drugs in the past, which we've been open about. Only cocaine, that's the only, but the thing is, not with Annette. Like, that was why people that were trying to say is that we were basically, like, free, like, to live our life, whatever. We had no children, we had no responsibilities, so we thought, you know, we didn't, Annette was Gloria's responsibility all these years. She didn't really even want us to really take any lead there. She wanted us to help her financially, but other than that, she didn't really want any help with Annette as far as, like, taking help with, like, you know, how to take care of her. And so we just kind of always felt free. We did our thing. But as soon as we stepped up to the plate of taking care of Annette, it's like all of our old addictions and things got put aside. It's like we can't do those things because we have to focus on her. So that's why it's like people bring up our past. It's like, yeah, but that's all changed since we basically kind of became like parents in a sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what a lot of people say about parenting. When they have their own child, they like are forced to get better themselves for the child.
Yeah, and we actually are very grateful for Annette for that reason, to be honest, because she kind of saved us in that sense. You know?
So how did you find out? Like, I know that you kind of knew that Annette wasn't in good shape before you came and lived there. Like, what'd you know then? Like, tell me about how you found out.
What we always knew, Annette wasn't doing well, but what we believed was that there was nothing that could be done. Does that make sense? Like, we thought that Gloria was doing the best she could for Annette. Like, I didn't realize that with proper care, Annette would be way more functional. We kind of just thought Annette was just berserk, and that's just like, and you just try to manage her craziness kind of in a sense. Like, we didn't realize, honestly, till we got here, that it could be kind of like minimized in a sense, her outbursts and stuff, because she was always just like screaming and yelling and, you know. And what happened is every year we would see her, she would be thinner, and that really concerned me, because I was like, Richard, every year I don't think your sister can get thinner, and then she gets thinner, and it's just crazy. And Gloria would always just be like, oh, she doesn't want to eat or whatever. And am I looking at the wrong camera? And so he's got like a couple cameras. I'm not really sure which one I'm supposed to look at. But what really worried us is as soon as we got here. So what people like to rag on us about, and it is that we were homeless for 2 months before we came here. But here's the thing. That was by choice, because I was kind of tired of doing my job, and we really had no purpose in our life, and we were back into being bulimic and stuff, and I was like, and we were drinking alcohol, and I was like, I just kind of gave up. I'm like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of even like waking up every day? Like, we have no purpose. So all we do is just like me and Richard had no purpose. Like, we didn't have, we got up and we ate and we watched TV or whatever. I mean, like, but we had like no one that we was relying on us. Like, if we didn't get out of bed, it didn't matter. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it became like, what's the point? So I ended up just like stopped going to work, and then we just got where we're like, okay, well, do you want to go to work or do you want to go homeless? And I'm like, homeless. And Richard was not happy about this, you know? And I'm like, and so, but the fact that he went along with me and kind of like let me, because like that's where people go like, oh, he forced you. If he had forced me, like he would, I was like, no, I don't want to work, you know? And so, but we did that for like 2 months, and finally one day, like, should we just call Gloria, you know? Because like it was just kind of like, we always knew that we could call her, but when we got here, we were like, well, we don't want to stay here, because this place was overtaken with rats and bed bugs, and she had hoarded, it was awful. So we're like, we'd rather be homeless. But as soon as we saw Annette, it was like, we can't, like, because like we were here for a couple days, and we kind of just saw how Gloria and Annette interacted, which we had never witnessed them interacting together to that level. Because we'd only come for, you know, at most a couple hours, and then you leave. So you don't see the daily interaction. And so what I was seeing was Gloria was attacking her a lot whenever Annette would act out, which was constantly. So it was like Annette would yell and scream and throw things, and then Gloria would come at her with a broom and attack her and, you know, tell her to leave the house, like, with a broom, like, beating her out of the house.
I remember.
And I was just like, can we, like, handle this differently? Does it have to go like this every time, you know? So the first thing I was like, Gloria, don't hit her with the broom. It's okay if she yells. It doesn't bother us if she yells. Who cares if she yells? Like, let's not kick her out of the house every time she yells. So that was, like, the first thing. I talked to Rich first about it, you know, and so I think he was, you know, said it. Because right on, I was not trying to take over. Like, I am not someone that walks into someone's house and goes like, oh, do it this way, da da da. But, like, I couldn't stand by and watch what was going on for very long. Like, it was pretty bad. And so I just slowly kind of had to start doing things like cleaning the house and stuff. And it was hard because Gloria is a hoarder. So at first, she didn't want to, like go. So we kind of had to do it without her noticing. Like, we literally were, like, taking out all of this trash and waste without her even realizing. And every day she'd just kind of be like, oh, it's cleaner, but not realize. Like, it happened, like, little at a time. But the house was filled to the gills. Like, there was no floor in this house anywhere. And so we would just take it to the dump. And she once in a while would see a bag, and she'd be like, what's that? We're like, oh, just some trash. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I remember the time when you were getting rid of the bed bugs, and you had, like, some pillows and blankets outside, and she brought them back inside.
Well, here's the problem. She brought the bed bugs to herself. Gloria is the only one with a really bad bed bug problem right now because of those pillows. She didn't have an issue. She was the only one without bed bugs, and they weren't in the front. That's why when we first moved here, we all wanted to be in the living room because there's no bed bugs in the living room, till Gloria brought those pillows out there. And now she's infested with bed bugs. She was complaining the other day.
She still has them now?
Yeah, none of us do. And now so we put that Damascus earth out there for her and give her the bed bug spray and stuff. And she cleaned all the stuff. But I'm like, Gloria, you did that to yourself. Because I was thinking about it. I was like, why does she have bed bugs? Because, you know, it's like they don't really usually crawl all the way to the living room. That's one thing about the bed bugs. They kind of stay where they're at. Mm-hmm. So, like, they were, like, infested in Annette's room and infested in our room. Then when we got those areas, it doesn't seem like they're not crawling all over the walls, all over the house. They don't really do that, luckily. They kind of just stay, I guess, in the bed areas. I guess. But so Gloria didn't have them out there until she brought all those pillows onto her bed. And now her poor thing, I'm like, Gloria, what were you thinking? We told her how many times.
So I don't know if I'm right about this, but she, like, stays in, like, the living room area. Yeah, is that right?
So here's the thing. People get honest about that because they're like, well, that's not fair that she's out there. But here's the thing. Gloria has never slept in her room. I think she doesn't like it since Richard's father died in that room. So ever since his father died, she's never been in there. So he died in 2011, and Gloria has just been hoarding in that room ever since. So, like, yeah, like, so nothing worked in that room. Like, she didn't use the bathroom in there, so, like, everything had broke throughout the years. So, like, both the sinks had broke, the toilet and the shower weren't working when we got here. So, like, they only used the one bathroom. So she just wouldn't go in that room. Like, they'd go into the closet once in a while, but the closet was filled to the gills. But primarily, she just would go in there just to throw things in there or maybe find things out of the room. But she never slept in there or anything because, for one thing, the bed bugs had gotten horrible in that room, too. And the mice had taken over that room. So Gloria always slept on the couch. So when we first got here, we all stayed in the living room. We left Gloria on the couch, or Gloria or Richard would take the couch, one of them, or the recliner. They would take turns. And then I would sleep on the chair that's now in our room, used to be in the living room, and I would sleep on it sideways because we all would be in the living room rather than be in that room. But one day I got really sick, and Gloria said, why don't you go sleep in my room? So I went in there, and she kept telling us to take her room. And we're like, well, we don't want it, you know, because we weren't planning on staying here. But the longer we observed Annette, we're like, we can't really leave them. And then we started to think about it. We're like, you know, it doesn't really make sense for the couple to be in the living room and Gloria to be in the room when she actually loves watching the TV. And we had given the TV over to Annette. So at first we didn't even have a TV in the bedroom for a second until we had to get this other Roku TV we got for like $500. And then Annette got a new TV that we got from the weed place, the dispensary, gave it to us. But so for a minute we didn't even have a TV in the rooms, and Gloria loves watching the TV. So we're like, you know what? It probably makes sense for us to be in the room, even though that sucks because Gloria doesn't have a room, but she was never using it anyways. But our what would be ideal is this is a duplex. If we ever got enough money, we would love to buy the other side. Then we could.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because we don't want to move out of here because that would be too far from the ladies. We could afford it. It would be great actually to move out of here and be in our own place, but we would never want to leave Annette like alone with Gloria for even that long anymore. Because especially now, Gloria just kind of doesn't really even know what to do for Annette. Like we do most of her care, so it would be,
yeah. She's very old herself. Like it's very difficult to take care of another person at that age.
Yeah, that was the thing. We should have stepped in sooner, and that's what we do feel bad about. But to be honest, without us being homeless, this is what no one gets. Without us being homeless, and without this insane scenario, there's no way we would have ever moved in here. And without us moving in here, we could have never helped them because money was not helping them. And that's what we kept giving them throughout the years. But that wasn't helping them. They needed us being here, but we would have never. Like, there's no way. Because even when we were homeless, we still left after coming here. We left, and then we felt bad.
Oh, yeah. I heard you mention that before.
Yeah, and we were like, but we couldn't take it living here. We're like, we want to go back homeless. But then we kept thinking of that, and we're like, all right, we got to go back. And we're like, we got to clean up that house. But we kept thinking, how? Like, how are we going to clean that house? It was, I wish we had more footage, but we didn't plan on doing this channel or even talking about it. But it was so daunting, like, when you first got here. It was just like, where do you even begin?
Just so you know, Moon's End is here. Yeah. Okay. And she's saying that the place was spotless when we got here, and that you got drunk and destroyed it.
That's
and saying there's videos of how clean it was when we got here. And she's talking about the time, remember we got back from New York, or maybe.
Oh, you're talking about 2014. She's
2014,
talking about 2014. That's when we got married. Yeah, the place was still clean. Because Gloria had only been here for about a year.
Because that's her big trip.
Because she'd been in Portland. So, yeah. Those are just funny lies.
She loves making lies up.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you get back on.
Oh, okay.
You ready to come back on?
Done, yeah.
Yeah, I had a great time, Alyssa.
Yes, me too. Nice to talk to you.
You're awesome. You're awesome. Okay. I'll try to,
thank you.
I want to talk more about the eating disorders, but I'm trying to walk around.
Walk away from it.
No, not walk away. Walk around. Like what's allowed, what's allowed without getting in trouble, but still be, because I know a lot of people, everyone's struggling with that. Everyone struggles with what to eat and their weight, and wanting to be a certain weight or not a weight, whatever. It's like it's a constant struggle for most people. So it's like
people are embarrassed to talk about it. So
and I get them not wanting to glorify it. But then there's the you need people to be able to have an outlet to talk about it too, though.
Definitely.
So it's tough. But I get it there because I'm very careful with, people early on wanted to know, steps or tips from me. And I was like, no, I'm not going there because I knew that would be. No, they're like, how do you do that? How do you do something? No.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, because I was like, no, if I did any sort of this is how I be bulimic sort of thing. I knew that would be, because that's not what I was trying to show how to not be bulimic.
Yeah, that's the exact opposite of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I'm not falling into that trap, because we were asking all these questions. I was like, no way. But even talking about it at all, they don't like that too much. So it's tough. It's a tough little. I think they don't mind a little bit, but they definitely didn't want the vomiting videos. So.
Yeah, no.
Gross. I can't believe people watch those. I can't watch them. I've never watched them. Like Richard will try, I'm like, no.
Oh my God.
Please. So gross too. The house was so dirty then too. That was we were starting to clean it, but it wasn't. It's still dirty even now. But it was even dirtier then. And I remember the worst part of those videos is I remember being embarrassed about how dirty the place was. Even more so than the vomiting. I was like, oh, the place is so gross.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think I would black out in that moment and never remember it ever again. That's very intense.
Yeah, it was interesting times, but I'm just glad that, honestly, I'm glad it was documented because the first time around we didn't document it. And we just were telling people, and I think a lot of times people don't believe us, just like they never believe us. So it was kind of cool that they could clearly see, I had an eating disorder big time. And some people still think I do because I'm thin, but I think you can clearly see the difference of when I was unhealthy and when I'm healthy. I think people can clearly see the difference?
I mean, like, when you get healthy, like, with eating, you'll, like, maintain, like, your appearance, and, like, you'll start to, you know, flatten out. Like, I look one way.
Yeah.
I don't think you looked a lot sicker before,
Yeah.
but now you're chill, and you're, like, maintaining, and it's chill.
Yeah,
So people don't know who's unhealthy or who's healthy just by looking at them. Like, it's very, you shouldn't assume.
Yeah, I know. I think it's pretty obvious when people are healthy or unhealthy, but a lot of people are not very good at telling that. Like, they'll think just thin is healthy or unhealthy, whatever way they want to look, and they think just being larger is healthy or unhealthy, whatever way. And it's like there's varying levels on each side, you know.
For sure.
Like some people want to say, oh, don't ever say fat is unhealthy. And I say there's varying levels. There's some fat is healthy, but too fat is unhealthy, just like too thin is unhealthy. So there's varying levels for both things. So that's why, like, people always want to say it's okay to, you know, call people too thin, but then don't call people too fat. And I'm like, no, well, there's varying levels on, like, some people are too thin, some people are too fat, but most people are just in between, you know.
Yeah, and even if someone even if someone looks like perfectly healthy weight and everything, they could have, like, the worst chronic illness ever, and you don't even know.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so it's like weight is only like one factor of health at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you say, there's so many other things. So I know it's a lot of times people will say the times people will commend them was the times they were the least healthy, you know, like, and that's frustrating for people. I know they'll be like, oh, I was told I looked good when I was doing, you know, this drug, or when I was, you know, doing an eating disorder or something, and then, but that's always like a fleeting thing. Usually it'll be like early on, because the longer someone stays in a unhealthy thing, they usually don't look that good. But early on, sometimes they will, and they'll get commended, and then they'll think, oh, I need to continue this, you know. But
yeah, there's so much of that. I think people should just stop commenting about anyone's appearance, like, oh, you look much better this way, because that can mean the world to someone. I
agree. I know. I feel bad for the celebs. They get that so bad, where people will comment
constantly
so much one way or the other, and I'm like, either way, even, that's why I always say, even if someone's complimenting you, it can be not good, because then, you know, they're still analyzing your looks. You know what I mean? So, you know,
and then you
think I look good now, but maybe I won't look good to you another way. You know what I mean? So, that's what,
and it's all subjective anyway, so no one should even care.
Yep. So true. All right, well, I had a great time. I'm going to send you back to Rich.
Okay,
yes,
and
awesome.
I really enjoyed meeting you. All right.
You as well.
Have a good one.
You too.
Here you go. Ooh, it's getting hot in here.
It is a little hot in here, huh?
Ooh, you got to put the air on. Here's your microphone.
Oh, thank you so much.
That was awesome.
Thank you so much.
All right, did you get enough food? Give me more.
Did I get enough food? I think I'm doing good.
That was only your lunch.
I think I'm doing really good. I would like a little dinner later. Hey, what's up, Alyssa?
Hey.
Are you still there? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get your questions answered?
Yeah, lots of information. Yes.
Cool. Awesome.
Yay.
Awesome. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming on the stream. I'm gonna go play piano. Do you want to hang out?
Oh, okay. One more
split?
question.
Oh, you have
One more
questions?
question.
Okay.
I have a few more questions. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So, I'm really passionate about insects and bugs. I'm a huge bug person.
Are you?
Yes. Tell me what kind of bugs you saw in Panama, and which ones were, like, the craziest bugs.
The moths.
Really?
Moths,
like, you got huge moths?
Like huge. Like I have a photo. Let me see if I can. I mean, it was good question. Good question. If you like insects, Panama. Well, we lived in the city, so it wasn't so bad. But you step outside the city, but this moth was so huge. It was scary.
Yeah, please let me see it.
It sounds weird, but it sounds weird to be scared of a moth, but I was.
No, my sister has, like, a deathly fear of moths. Like, she'll scream at a moth.
So weird. Yeah, so what's your favorite insect?
Ooh, probably robber flies. They're like a predatory fly.
Oh my god.
They're super cool.
That's cool. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna see if I can find let's see if we find the moth.
Someone asked if my future is in journalism. No, but that would be super cool. I've always been very into that.
Really?
So I would hope that.
Yeah. You definitely, well, you're definitely a creator because you're here. You know, I mean,
Not really. I mean, sometimes I'll stream on Twitch, but I'm not really a creator. Like, not my focus. But it's fun.
This might not be your format. Like streaming might not be your format. I see. I know you guys are gonna laugh at me because I said this to the last person that interviewed me. You seem like a really good writer. You seem like you could be a really good writer.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
No, that so when you say journalism, it kind of makes sense. But journalism is a little more cutthroat. You have to like really cut into it. You know, you really have to. But whereas you just seem like you kind of ask questions. You think about a lot of things. You analyze it, and like you said, like I didn't even know who you were for 5 months.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? You kind of sat back and then okay, I got some questions now. 5 months? Oh my gosh! I mean, most people is like impulse, like, hey, why are you cooking in the kitchen?
I mean, I've asked questions in the chat, but there's so many people in chat, it's hard to keep track.
It is hard, and then we also don't, you know, it gets a little messy down there. Hold on, where is? I got the new. I updated my phone, and now you guys do the update on the Apple? Anybody? Photos is completely out of whack. It's completely it's a new program. Okay, hopefully it works better. Yes, it did find the moss. Okay. Man, this doesn't quite give it. This doesn't show you how big it is.
Is that on a ceiling?
It's on a ceiling, but look, it's like the size of a bat.
Yeah, I can tell. Like, that's like the corner of the ceiling?
Yeah,
that's pretty huge. Yeah.
It's like totally coming. And then you see its eyes. It's looking right at me.
Oh my! I can't see the eyes. Maybe I just have bad connection. But oh no, I see it.
Yeah, you see those eyes? It's just like staring right at me, freaking me out. Okay, there's that one. Okay, I got another one. Moss freaked me out. I'm telling you. That was in Panama. This was in Vegas. This guy was just in my car.
Oh,
yeah.
He's cute.
Yeah, cool. Not predatory or anything.
Nah.
I'm trying to think. God, man, you ask questions that require. You know who's really good at detailed like memory stuff is Joy. Joy remembers everything. Like she remembers like she has kind of a photographic memory.
I know. I've seen her tell many stories in very much depth.
Very detailed. I know. And so when you ask me these great questions, I'm like, which is what a writer would do. You know what I mean? Like if you were writing a book, let's say on eating disorders, whatever. That's what you're doing right now. You're doing your writer research.
I guess you could call it that.
That's exactly what it is. If you were to write a book, I mean, that's exactly what you're doing, because you studied me, and then, or you studied not me, but you studied the other channel. You were studying the subject, and then you found the other channel, found me. Now you're interviewing me. You're doing your research, and that's why someone said you'd be good at journalism. Yes and no, except journalism is different. Journalism is much more aggressive. It's much more like pointed, and it doesn't. The amount of research you put into like what you're doing right now is more of like someone who'd write a book. Journalists do like man, they got to be quick, fast, and they, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you can't do that. I just think that there's enough people doing that already. There needs to be more people like you.
Most journalists today, like all they're doing is writing for BuzzFeed, like the top 10 Harry Potter moments. You know, that's today's journalism.
Yeah, it's like I love the ones that say, everyone is talking about this. It's like, no, you guys, literally you wrote this, and now it's like, no. Anyways, what's your next question, Alyssa?
Let me see. Okay, well, I guess like what you are doing now with your channel, like you're just doing a lot of streams and making the videos, like your videos, they kind of all are pretty much about the family. Like, have you ever thought about making different types of content, like trying out different types of things just to see how it would go?
Like what though? Like, yeah, I mean, that's a great idea. But honestly, I think joy is all about like effortless action. Like, do what's in front of you. You know what I mean? Because if it required us to go outside of like we film like what's in front of us, what we think, what we feel, and we put up sometimes something we remind us of an old video from like 2015 or 2019. So we repost some of those old ones. But for the most part, it's like it's kind of what's happening right now, and we kind of do that. But what you're describing is like, I mean, what are you like saying? Like, oh, do you want to go? Like, I mean, you're not just saying like take the family boating. You're saying like let's do a video about boats, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, like, because the channel is about the family, and like, you want to keep it all about one thing. That's like how YouTube. That's kind of how people.
I see. Yeah, the algorithm likes it. It figures out that you're a certain way, and then if you try to step outside of that, you get 0 views, and then you put like one in your algorithm, and you get like 10,000 views. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, yeah, and then also like the viewers, like they come to expect like this type of content. You want to keep it about it's the same style of content, but what I mean, like maybe just like how you do the grocery shopping videos, stuff like that. Like like don't. Like
that's what I want to do more. I think more kind of like because I think the grocery thing, we get a lot of views on that, and it's really, and I can do that relatively easy because people want to see it. They don't want to see it all edited. They want to see it going through the store, and it's like it's a nice flow, and I don't know. It's a visually appealing for a lot of people, but also Joy is a really good shopper, and so she knows how to find really good deals. So. The couple things is that it's helpful, like the way she shops. She's like, we go to like 2 or 3 stores. Sometimes we go to 3 stores in the morning.
That's pretty crazy.
Is it crazy? I mean, I've been doing it for so long, it doesn't seem crazy to me at all. And you know what's crazier?
What?
Okay. This is where you guys are going to clip this and say I'm a real jerk. But I got on this trip after we left the cave that we didn't need a car no more. And that we should just be Jedi, and we can just do public transportation. Because, I was coming from New York City mindset, even in Portland, Oregon. Not realizing that Vegas has like one of the worst like bus systems ever, it's like it's terrible here. Point is this, so from 2018 through COVID, Joy would walk to the stores.
Oh.
And then when COVID happened, what happened was they limited the amount of beef you could buy per day, right? Do you remember that? Were you old enough to remember that?
No, I mean, I wasn't really dropping for beef.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, I'll tell you what happened. They put rations in stores, so if you went there, you could only buy 2 pounds per person. Okay, well, we eat 6 pounds a day. So Joy, we didn't have a car either. So Joy would have to walk. I mean, it would be an all-day adventure every day during COVID. I mean, hey, you got balloons. That's cool.
Yeah.
That was neat.
Yeah. There's another one. There's like, I think this one does something. I think maybe that.
Nobody ever, the thing about Streamlabs is no one tells you how this thing works. Like.
Well, I think the balloons and the stuff, it's like an Apple thing. This is an Apple. Yeah.
Oh, well, look at you go.
Yeah. They did that with iPhones.
Oh, you did that. I don't think I can do that.
You can do it right now. Do it. Do the heart thing.
I don't think
Just
so.
keep it there for.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Whoa.
Yeah.
See that? Thanks, Alyssa. Man, that does look. That's visually cool. Next time what we're on right now, the reason why it's a little grainy is because the template had this set up for 320 by 640 or something instead of like 720. So it's just a little grainy. So maybe next time I'll set it up, but. I think it does that because it lower data for streaming to other people because when you want to stream.
Yeah, I don't have connection.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily the connection. Sometimes the data has to do with the phone. Like if you have an older phone, if you're doing like real high colors and stuff, the phone's just gonna be like, forget it. I can't do that. I'm too old. You gotta get one of those younger phones.
What phone do you have?
We have an iPhone 14, but I'll be due for an upgrade here in October, coming around, or March. March officially.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'll probably upgrade to a 16 then. I mean, ideally, I mean, I can already tell with the new software upgrade. What they do is they upgrade your software, and when you upgrade your software, it's built on the faster phones. So the old phone, so as long as you don't upgrade your software, you're pretty good. As long as you can hold off on upgrading the iOS. But
yeah, and sometimes they make you though. It's like
sometimes they make you, like in this case, like what we're doing right now, like this live streaming stuff, and with this, I'm using an iPhone. Did you know that?
yeah, because
Like,
you got the balloons and stuff.
Well, I'm on a desktop, and there's something called a continuity camera. Do you know what that is? I didn't know what it is until like last week. Okay, so I'm just saying, what it is basically my camera, my iPhone is now my webcam, but it was working, but then they did something with the software, so I had to update my software in order to make that work. That's what I was gonna say. This is like the most boring conversation I've ever had. I'm like bored halfway through it.
Well, okay, I'm not a tech
It's
person.
not your fault. It's my fault. I'm the one talking about something totally boring.
You know what's not boring? These comments are unhinged. Some people are really unhinged.
They're out of control. I don't know how you read them. See, I can't read. I mean, can you imagine trying to do a stream and read those? It'd be impossible. It'd be absolutely impossible to actually read each comment. I mean, first of all, like 99% of them, like from the haters, are just like mistruths, and so it's like if someone talks about, and they know all your personal life because so someone comes over, hey Alyssa, I heard you did this and this and this, and why'd you do that? And then the next one, oh, I heard you did. It's like it's kind of hard not to to talk about stuff if you're like, I never said that, I never did that. Why are you guys saying that? Oh yeah, burgers, I'm ready. Calabasas maybe, Calabasas. Yeah, Joy just walked by. She's doing dinner.
Oh, nice.
Where are you, Alyssa? What part of the country are you in?
Ooh, Maryland. Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I liked it.
Well, do you have more questions? Do you have anything else you want to say? I would say you're doing great. I mean, because you saw all the stuff in the comments. You know how.
Yes, I've been paying attention.
Yeah, you know how toxic this room is, and you know how everyone was saying about the stream cam and talking all this crap about how I was faking it, like I was pretending like I didn't know how to. You're the first person I've done this with.
Really? I thought you just had a thing with what's her Ava?
That was on her. That was on her stream. You're the first person I've done this with on my stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
so
hey,
that's
making
why
history.
Well, the point is that it took me a second to fill it out, but the whole time, can you imagine like if I had a job, and my job was to set this thing up for live streaming, right? For a collab cam, right? And I'm here, and I've got LC Win a Black Dress, I've got Moon Zen, I've got Claire, all of them in the office behind me as I'm working on the computer, saying the shit that they were saying in the room. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to figure this thing out, and they're saying stuff like, oh, he's not trying to fix it. He's just faking it. He's just making it mute on purpose. Like, can you imagine like if they were here in person, I'm trying to fix this thing, like with 100 people in the room, and I'm trying to get this thing going. I mean, that was like the rudest thing you guys were doing. I mean, it was just like, do you guys not realize like I am a person, and I do have. I mean, it's like I mean, I'm trying to read. I mean, I only had to read your comments because I was working on the computer. So as I was working trying to get this thing out, I could see your stuff out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, dude, it's like it'd be like if I was like trying to like okay, like you know like in Mission Impossible, you know, you got to figure out, is it the red wire, the blue wire, or the yellow one, and the clock is like 5, 4, and then you got moves like, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's faking it. You're like, shut up, I'm trying to remember, you know, I don't want to blow this place up, man. It's like you're not helping, Moves in.
The comments are a thing every YouTuber has to deal with, like not cool, but you especially, you have a lot of negative comments in the chat all the time.
I know, they absolutely hate me.
I've seen like you read some comments, and then like even if it's just one comment, you can talk about the comment for a long time. You get like pretty like frazzled by some comments sometimes.
Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Man.
yeah.
Huh. Well, you need to send me, you need a little buzzer to let me know when I'm doing that. Because sometimes I'm unaware. I'm just talking.
Yeah, and then I read the chat, and some people are, it becomes like more like when you react to it, more people try to keep going to get more reaction.
Yeah, isn't it amazing?
Yeah, I mean,
know. It's amazing, like how this fuel of energies kind of works like that. It's like it can go either positive or negative. The same thing happens when people do positive things too. It's like kind of bubbles this thing up.